Conservatives have actually lost their minds. After the overturning of Roe v. Wade, after this IVF nonsense, after the abortion nonsense in Arizona, reinstating bills from 2 centuries ago, after all of this foolishness, I thought Republicans would somehow close ranks, find the brains they've clearly lost, and regain some sense. But they haven't. And now Republicans in Louisiana have now made it a requirement for the 10 Commandments to be on display in all classrooms. From K all through up to college, they have to be on display. This is what we're dealing with, people who want to have a Christian nationalist fascist uprising in this country. That's what they want. Now, one of the people behind the bill came on CNN to spew her nonsense.
Joining me now to discuss is one of the co-authors of House Bill 71, Louisiana State Representative Lauren Ventrella. State Representative, thank you so much for being with us to share your perspective. Does the bill specify what kind of penalty teachers like that will face?
There's not any penalty under the law. It's just a requirement that the classrooms should post what we know and believe is the moral fabric, the moral fiber of our country that should be on public display, that the school children should have the opportunity to read and be exposed to.
So when you talk about the moral fiber of our country, you realize that this country is an amalgamation of cultures, right, and different faiths. And even within Christianity, people don't interpret those commandments the same way.
Well, what's important about this bill and what's important to remember about this country is that whether we like it or not, Moses is in the Supreme Court of the United States. The 10 Commandments are in the Supreme Court of the United States. Moses is on the law in Congress. This is part and ingrained in our nation. This is a historical document that's important in Louisiana because in Louisiana, we believe in faith, family, and freedom, and that is why I voted in favor of this bill.
So automatically she's spewing bullshit. The 10 Commandments is not the moral fabric and fiber of our nation. But it's real funny to hear MAGA Republicans say that. If I recall correctly, it was proven that Donald Trump did in fact sleep with Stormy Daniels behind his wife's back. Donald Trump committed adultery and denies it to this day. He hasn't said, guys, I admit, I surrender, I admit, and I've spoken to God. And when I spoke to God, I surrendered my sins. I opened my heart to him. I welcomed Christ into my heart. I asked him to cleanse me of my sins, and I asked to be forgiven. But Donald Trump ain't even, man, he denies he even did it, bro. Trump to this day swears to God it didn't happen, which, I don't blame the guy. Come on. But I'm not a Christian. I'm not a Christian. I'm not the one claiming to be a believer in Christ. I'm not someone claiming to be a purporter or proponent of the 10 Commandments. I'm not any of those things. I am a secular American. So it's really funny how this woman sees it fit to force her beliefs on all the people. Notice the language she uses. She says, Moses is, what did she say? Moses is in, the Supreme Court. She said the 10 Commandments are in the Supreme Court building. What does that have to do with anything? Do the 10 Commandments have an impact on how the Supreme Court... Well, it probably does, given the kind of justices we have now. But legally speaking, does the 10 Commandments have any impact on the jurisdiction of the judicial branch of the government? Does it in any way, shape, or form? The answer is no. And the reason as to why she's playing these games, notice she says, it's a historical document that kids need to be able to see. Well, I can think of some other historical documents. What about the cornerstone speech of the Confederacy, in which they proudly talk about how the Negro is naturally inferior to the white man and his natural role is servitude? Y'all love the Confederacy, right? Y'all love Robert E. Lee, right? Well, since y'all love him so much, how about we take some documents from those people from that time that they wrote and put them in the classroom so all the kids can see it? Oh, but we don't want to talk about that, though. We don't want to enshrine that into any classroom, though. They pick and choose which historical documents they want in there. The reality is they're not putting it in there because it's historic. They're putting it in there because it is in alignment with what they believe in their own personal lives, and it is in alignment with what they want the rest of the nation to submit to. This is not about exposure for the children, and if they want to read it, they can't. No, this is about forcing something in their face. This is about trying to push something onto the children of Louisiana that not everybody in Louisiana wants their children to be exposed to. This woman knows that. This whole nonsense about Moses is on the law in Congress. Ma'am, have you actually read, like, in the Constitution it states, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. These, like, okay, Moses may be somewhere in those rooms. The 10 Commandments might be somewhere in the Supreme Court justice facilities. Like, it could be in there. But the laws they pass, the decisions they make legally cannot be impacted by religion. It can't, especially Congress. So to sit there and argue that somehow or another, these things should be in classrooms full of impressionable children, it goes to show this is not about historical documents. There's plenty of historical documents they don't want in classrooms. It's not about history. It's about picking and choosing what you like and then forcing it onto everyone else.
What would you say if your child had to go to a classroom in which the 5 pillars of Islam were required to be on the wall? How would you feel?
Again, this is not about the 5 pillars of Islam. This bill specifically states the 10 Commandments. It is a historical document.
I'm presenting you with a hypothetical that would help you put yourself in the shoes of someone you may not understand and their point of view. How would you feel if you walked into a classroom and something you didn't believe in was required to be on the wall? You can answer that question.
I appreciate you, Chris. I cannot sit here and gather and fathom what you could give me 1,000 hypotheticals. But again, this specific bill applies to this specific text. The Quran or Islam, that is a very broad statement. We're specifically talking about a limited text on, mind you, a piece of paper that's not much bigger than a legal sheet of paper. Some kids might even need a magnifying glass to read all of this. This is not so preposterous that we're somehow sanctioning and forcing religion down people's throat. I've heard the comments, and it's just ridiculous.
She can't even fathom all these hypotheticals. No, you're ignoring the hypotheticals. You don't want to engage in the hypotheticals because it would force you to confront your behavior and acknowledge why it's wrong. See, if my kid, I can say it right now, I don't give a damn. If my child was going to school and the 5 pillars of Islam were in the classroom, I'm pulling my child out. Bye. See ya. We good on that. I don't want that anywhere near my child. Frankly. So, for me to not want that in my child's classroom, it would then make sense for me to also apply that same standard to the 10 Commandments. Neither of these documents or philosophies have a place being forced into classrooms. Now, if all the kids in the classroom say, we want the 10 Commandments, yay! Let them have their little 10 Commandments in their little classroom. Don't be a hater. Don't be a hating ass. You know what I'm saying? Don't be hating. But for the state to force everyone to have this in their classrooms is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But conservatives specialize in not being able to extend empathy and sympathy to others on purpose. This is what they do. I don't believe conservatives are incapable of empathy or sympathy, but they specifically and spitefully choose to shut these things off in order to push their agenda at all times. Conservatives, weren't you the ones crying and complaining last year about Pride Month being celebrated inside of schools? I remember that. That was last year. Y'all were crying and complaining about, Pride Month. And look, I agree. No Pride Month should be celebrated inside of school, especially for small children. I agree. The problem is, y'all spent all of last year freaking out about Pride Month in schools, and now all of a sudden you're just whipping out 10 Commandments for everybody's classroom. That just seems mighty hypocritical to me. The rational, leader-like decision would be made like, okay guys, how about we just ban everything? If we're not going to have one, we can't have the other. These people have no respect. These far-right Republicans and conservatives they cannot comprehend what the founding fathers envisioned for this nation. They don't give a about what the founding fathers envisioned for this nation. These people want a Christian nationalist society, and once that becomes okay, then they're going to push it a little bit further. White Christian nationalist society, Protestant Christian nationalist society, Anglo-Saxon. Might be time to clean up some, specific white ethnicities that have been hanging around here for a little bit too long. Time to go back home, guys. I'm telling you, this is a fascistic nationalist movement that cares nothing for administration, function of government. The only thing they care about is winning a culture war. They don't care about actually running states. These people are not built for politics, and it's all Donald Trump's fault. And Donald Trump himself came out in support of this. And I can guarantee you this, it's not because Donald Trump actually supports this, it's because Donald Trump can't stop it. Donald Trump doesn't want Republicans doing the stuff they're doing about IVF and abortion and the 10 Commandments. He doesn't want that. He doesn't want that. The problem is he can't stop it. The problem is the monster he has created has become too powerful for he himself to control, and now he is at the mercy of a Republican Party that is slowly but surely radicalizing itself into defeat. The American people don't want segregation. They don't want the banning of interracial marriage, gay marriage. They don't want abortion to be illegal. The American people do not want these things. I'm sorry. They just don't. They don't. Y'all are losing elections as a result of the decisions you're making. You are. Donald Trump, if you were smart, you would fight back against the radicals in your base, but you really can't now. You can't. You don't even run this thing. The people who really run this movement are Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, who else? The far right media is who runs this, is who controls this beast. Donald Trump is not even the controller of this anymore. He doesn't even run the show. So, Louisiana, it's a damn shame to see how it's turning out down there. Please vote blue this year. Please do. Republicans, conservatives, I love you guys, but you're going a little bit crazy right now. Y'all need to just chill out a little bit, relax. Okay, I'm there with y'all. I don't want Islam in schools. I don't want Pride Month in schools, but y'all are going too far. Okay, y'all have been wilding out, and it's not cool. Okay, like I said, I'm there with y'all when y'all be upset about that other stuff. I'm not one of those people that's like, you guys need to accept Pride Month, but I'm not one of those people trying to hold you to an unfair standard. I'm not, but I need y'all to meet me in the middle and fuck with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's not go crazy here, okay? But if y'all keep this shit up, y'all not about to win this. I'm trying to tell you, if y'all keep doing this stuff, you're not going to win the election. But that's just my take on it. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm out.